Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. If you are new to my channel, my name is Stephanie. I'm a life and relationship coach. This week, I want to dive into kind of like entrepreneurship, life coaching, things like that. I get a lot of questions from people asking me, how did I start my business? They're asking how to kind of motivate yourself to actually do this. This is a really big step. I don't know how to even begin starting my own business and what that actually looks like. And so a lot of what we talk about on this channel, especially in terms of emotional abuse and narcissistic abuse and healing, once we kind of get to a place where we feel like we're good to go and we've healed a lot of our wounds, we get to a place where we feel kind of stuck and we're ready to start really working on our future. This month, actually, we're doing two really amazing deals. We're actually doing our little like March Madness right now. So we're going to be offering 50% off my new boot camp. And it's a program that I just created where it really talks about that phase of life where we're kind of done with the past. We've worked on ourselves. We've healed everything. We're in a good space and we're ready to really start rebuilding and moving on with our lives and creating all of these different areas of our lives, whether it's our career, our finances, friendships, relationships, etc., money, and I really talk about all those areas. So if you're interested in that program, I will link it down below, as well as the code that you can use for the 50% off. But let's get into this topic because I love this stuff because obviously I'm an entrepreneur, obviously I own my own business, and I want this for everyone. I think if you have an idea or if you're passionate about something, owning your own business gives you such a sense of freedom, financial stability, especially when you're doing the thing that you're actually meant to do, when you've actually kind of combined entrepreneurship, owning your own business with your passion and your purpose. Game changer. So I want to get into what are the things that you have to kind of either work on within yourself or just understand and know for you to be able to create a brand, a business, and have it be successful. So a lot of the areas of entrepreneurship that you're really going to want to work on are going to have to do with your own self. So like everything, everything starts with you. So we're going to tackle probably some like inner assumptions, limiting beliefs, fears, etc. One of the things that I always tell people is don't get tripped up on what other people are doing, meaning other either coaches or other sub shops. If you're looking to open up a pizza place or a salon, or I want to do, makeup and be an influencer, don't get so obsessed with what other people are doing and the level of success that they have and how am I going to get there and all of those kind of stories. You're really just starting with like the basics of being able to start a business. And so you don't want to get so focused on the outside. We really want to get really clear on a couple of things. And number one is, what is your niche? What is your message? What is the product? What is the service? Really in defining what that is. So in terms of life coaching, I always say like, what are you adding to people's lives? What is an area of life that you know a lot about, either through education or life experience, which is always the best teacher? But what is something that you're going to be adding to someone's life? Is it going to be a service? Is it going to be a product in terms of coaching? Is it going to be relationships? Is it going to be health? Is it going to be fitness? And whatever area you decide, it has to be something that you yourself are really passionate about. And it's probably something that you yourself have actually either struggled with yourself or you have some kind of really deep connection to this area. So for example, I love fitness, don't get me wrong, I love health, but I don't feel pulled in that direction to talk about nutrition and fitness and all those types of things. My niche, my area, my genre is really mental health, is really learning how to be healthy. What does that mean mentally and emotionally, healing from the past and being able to rebuild a great future. All of the steps that it takes in order to heal and then, get to a really great space within your own self, but then take it the next step further and evolve with yourself and be able to motivate yourself to create everything that you want for your life. That process right there, that sweet spot of creation, that's what I was meant to do. That's what I was meant to talk about. And so you have to kind of decide, what does that look like for you? I think sometimes people get very, they don't want to put themselves in a box like, hey, I don't want to just talk about one thing, or I don't want to just create this one product. And you don't have to. When you have a brand, you basically have people that are following you, that are following your message, that are following this brand that you've created, this lifestyle, right? And so as you evolve, your brand evolves. So what you're trying to do is not just create a business, you're trying to create a lifestyle, you're trying to create this brand. So you're not going to always talk about the same thing. Now, you very well can. There are plenty of coaches, there are plenty of businesses, services, products, whatever, that are only doing the one thing over and over and over again. But whether you look at Nike or whether you look at, a makeup artist can do makeup for a wedding, but then they can also do makeup for a horror film. I can, like Nike, I can sell t-shirts, but then I can get into sneakers. So as a life coach, I can talk about narcissism, but then I can talk about motivation. So you're staying in the same realm of Nike is athletic wear, makeup artist works with makeup, but you're not staying in such like this one specific thing that I do, but you very well can as well. You could be a makeup artist that only does weddings. You could be a life coach that only talks about narcissism. So as you can either stay in that one little lane, or you can evolve your business and your brand and have it be a multitude of things. The important thing to understand is that, and this is where you kind of have to work on the inner self, is what value are you adding to someone's life and how are you different than other people? It doesn't mean that, you could be doing the same thing. You're both makeup artists. Nike and Under Armour, same thing. But what is the message between both of these different brands? What do these different brands stand for? I'm a coach and Sue's a coach. What does she talk about? What does she stand for? What does her brand look like? And what does my brand look like? So that's what you really want to define. The only way to really define your brand is to have a clear idea of what your mission is and to be completely authentic and transparent in what that is. So with your mission or your message or the service or the product, you have to have real clarity on what this is, meaning who's going to benefit from my services or my product, who is my audience, and why is it so important that people have this information? Why do people need this? When you can answer why do people need this product, you're going to get passionate about it. And if you're not passionate about it, then that's probably not the service, that's probably not the product that you should be focusing on. Because when I ask, why does someone need this? There should be a huge, long-winded discussion on why this is so important to you and why other people need this in their lives. Once you've kind of gotten clarity on why this is so important and why people need this in their lives, then you have to get a little clear on, well, what does that actually mean in terms of a business? What do I mean by that is what kind of services do you offer as a coach, as a clothing company, whatever, that is indicative of you. So for example, are you a coach that offers online coaching? Are you a coach that only sells programs? Are you a coach that only writes books? Are you a coach that does a YouTube channel? Are you a coach that only does a podcast and maybe doesn't do a YouTube channel? Are you a coach that is only on TikTok and not on Instagram? So understanding and doing one thing really, really well before you dive into other areas. So for me, when I started my business, I wasn't doing a podcast and heavy on social media and doing YouTube and doing this and doing that. I was just doing one thing and I was doing it consistently and I was doing it really, really well. And it just becomes part of my daily routine. Once you've done that enough, consistently, right, over a period of time, you'll get bored with it and then you'll want to keep going further because you'll keep feeding off of that energy. Because that energy and you feeding off of it, it's what's going to give you momentum to keep going further. And it's also going to build you confidence. So as I do one thing really, really well and I don't have to think about it anymore and it's not a challenge for me and it's not something that I fear, I've built confidence in myself. And then I'm going to always want to keep going further because the more confidence you build, the more excited you feel, the more happy you are inside because you're actually achieving goals. If you set your goals too high and you say, okay, I'm going to be on YouTube 5 times a day or 5 times a week, and then I'm going to start a podcast, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to create this brand and I'm going to sell this product and this product and I'm going to do all these things, but you haven't clearly defined what your mission is, you haven't clearly defined what your brand stands for and what your message is, and then you haven't done a couple of things really well and were consistent with it, you're going to lose your audience, you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get disheveled because you're not able to build something and have you build that audience that follows with you throughout the course of your brand. The next thing that's huge any entrepreneur, anything is going to be your self-worth. And I mean, we talk about this in terms of relationships and all those things and standards. Your self-worth has to be there. It can't be a matter of, I want this business, or I want this lifestyle, or I want this relationship. It can't just be wants. It has to be musts. It has to be, it's going to happen. Because when you put that level of assurance behind something that you want, you're going to make it happen. You're going to, because it's not an option that you don't get this. So I hear so many motivational speakers constantly saying things like, you need this more than you want to breathe, for example. I know Eric Thomas says that all the time. Want this goal more than you want to stay stuck, more than you want to just be on the couch. Like, you can't talk, you have to actually do. And there can't be a part of the brain that's trying to negotiate with whether or not you actually go and do your first podcast. It has to be, I don't care what it looks like, I don't care how it sounds, I don't care if it's not perfect, I have to just do something. The ability to not think and just do is the strongest skill that you're going to need in order for you to be successful. Because the reason why people aren't successful, the reason why people aren't consistent with businesses and they fail, or they get shut down, or they don't make the kind of money that they want, is because they don't, I don't want to say the hustle's not there, I don't want to say the grind isn't there. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's a combination of fear. I think it's a combination of not being open to readjusting, right? And not staying just stuck in one realm and saying, okay, I can readjust my sail, right, as the economy changes or as I evolve myself. And because it's not going to always look the same. I mean, look, with COVID, how have businesses changed? We have pick up anything nowadays, Uber Eats, meal delivery, all of these things, all these types of businesses and services that have evolved because people were willing to adapt and change, and you have to be open to that. So as the world has changed, we now have things like social media, we now have things like a podcast and like a YouTube channel, where of course we have to get out of our comfort zone because we're not writing out a little ad that we put in a newspaper anymore, and we have to do a little bit more and it looks a little different. But you have to be open to the change that the world will come into, that this business will come into, and adapt. And I think the only way you can really be open to this is when you want something bad enough, when again, the mission, what is my message? What is my purpose? Why is this product the product that people need to have? There needs to be a level of self-worth behind that, self-assurance, everything, for you to know, like, this is serious. Like, this is something that I love. This is something that will help people. Whatever it is, whether it is a service and you are coaching someone on a specific thing, or whether you want to develop a product. And again, behind that message, behind that mission, what is the brand? What do I stand for? People are following me and buying my stuff. Who am I? And not just why am I different than other people that are doing the exact same thing, because that's a big thing. You know, a lot of people say to me, well, people have done this before. Coaches talk about this all the time. I want to do fitness, but there's a million fitness channels on YouTube. Or I want to talk about relationships and I'm competing with all these different people. There is no difference between Louis Vuitton and Coach, but the prices are different. There's no difference between me doing this and you doing this. So what's different is, what is the brand? What is the lifestyle? What is the whatever you want to call it, I guess brand is really the only word, of a Louis Vuitton versus a Coach, versus, you know, another purse or another bag or a different product that's very, very similar. So you want to stand out because you actually are going to add so much value to someone's life. And I know a lot of people that come to me and they want to do coaching. One of the things that really gets them stuck is when they say something like, well, I'm not healed yet. Well, how can I help someone when I'm still struggling with this? Reality is that you're a coach. You're not Superman or Superwoman. You're not meant to have learned every lesson that there ever was before you can actually help someone else. That's not what this is about. What this is about is you being at a place where you, based on what you've already been through and what you know right now, can help someone, because there are people out there that don't know yet what you know and where you're at. And yes, there are other people that maybe have evolved further than you, but that's not what the point is. We're not comparing ourselves to other people. We're evolving as as our journeys go on. So what you can bring to the table right now is a lot more than what some people have already had in their life. And they need you. They need just where you are right now. And as you create your brand and your message and your mission, you will evolve, and so will your audience. So I think what is so beneficial is that you understand that you add value, and that's something that you have to work on. And that's where the self-esteem and the self-worth and all of those things come into play. Because if you don't believe that your brand and your message and your mission and your company and your services will add value to someone's life, then you're not going to be successful. If you're so concerned on how you look and what you should say and trying to be perfect and trying to do everything the right way and not just being real, raw, and vulnerable and authentic and transparent with this is the situation, this is our brand, this is our mission, and being confident in who you are, you're never going to be able to connect to other people. And the point of any business, whether it is a pizza place, a clothing brand, a life coach, or whatever, is the ability to connect. For someone to connect with you and who you are and what you're about, to say, I want to hire you. I think you can help me. I think you're good. I like your work. I like what you stand for. Is being comfortable to display, this is who I am. These are my products. These are my services. And also understanding that not every person is going to like your sandwich, is going to want your, beanies that you're selling, or the clothes that you have, or the makeup services that you do, and understanding that what you're trying to find is your own audience, and that's it. So I hope that has helped you to kind of just start the wheels of entrepreneurship and understanding what is your message, getting really, really clear on that, working through the fears that you have, and really working on building the muscle of just doing something and not thinking so much about it or not trying to make it perfect in order for you to take step one. I think that's probably going to be the biggest skill that you'll ever learn when owning your own business, is think when you need to think and make smart decisions, but don't think too much and just start doing. The more you do, you'll learn from your mistakes or learn from experiences, and you'll keep growing and evolving, and so will your business, and you'll be successful, and you'll have the life that you actually want, the freedom, financial freedom, fulfillment, etc. So I hope that motivated or inspired you. If you are interested in any of the courses, I always link everything down below. We are actually doing our boundaries course for the month of March, is also $20, which is crazy. So if you are interested in that, I will link that below as well, and I'll see you next week.